Greetings, this is Matt Faiello, Technical Marketing Engineer, and I'm back with another Intersight Manage Mode Expert Series video. We are still talking about domain profile policies or domain policies, and today's video is going to be about the VSAN policy. So with that, let's get started. Okay, in talking about the VSAN policy, it's not so different than the VLAN policy. It's a domain policy. It's part of the domain profile. And we've got to configure the VSANs on the Fabric fiber channel uplinks so that our servers via the server profile can properly connect on the proper VSAN. Usually VSANs are Fabric specific. Okay, there are common best practices like even VSANs for A Fabric, odd VSANs for B Fabric. So in creating this policy, we will absolutely recommend you create a Fabric specific policy. VSAN policy -A, VSAN policy -B, etc. Okay, as we've spoken, this policy is directly accessed by the domain profile, so it's not embedded in another policy. And of course, as you add VSANs, modify the policy, take away VSANs in any way, that would necessitate a redeployment of the domain profile. So whether you're changing the policy itself, changing to a different policy, or changing something else within the domain profile, you have to redeploy the domain profile. Of course, all host VSANs across your whole UCS domain. Those VSANs that are going to be used need to be part of this domain VSAN policy. We do suggest having separate Fabric specific policies, and it's often the case that the VSAN numbers aren't the same on the A Fabric as they are on the B Fabric. Be mindful that when you add a VSAN, that you also have to designate an accompanying FCOE VLAN, okay? And that VLAN needs to be a usable VLAN. It can't be one of your system VLANs. So pay attention to that. Usable VLANs are usually between 2 and 4093, as the note suggests there. But 3915 to 4042 are reserved system VLANs. Okay, and you also have a few others there that are kind of in cement. You can't change those. So in my case, I usually pick a high number, so I'll pick like 4090, 4091, 4092, etc. For my FCOE VLAN that accompanies that VSAN. Okay, upon deployment of the your Fabric domain VSAN policy, a good way to check that from a CLI perspective is to secure shell into the Fabric interconnect, connect to the NXOS menu and do a show VSAN membership. And as with all IMM Expert Series videos, I like to put a graphic slide in here on where the policy lies, what consumes what. So we have our domain profile on the left, and it directly accesses the VSAN policy. And of course, we've created Fabric-specific VSAN policies -A and -B. Okay, so let's move on with the demo. We are in Intersight, and we are in Infrastructure Service, Policies. We're going to create a policy. We're going to filter to our domain policies, and then select VSAN. Click Start. Give it a unique name. I like to use some kind of a domain descriptor. And I am creating Fabric-specific policies, VSAN policy. And we can set a tag, which gets instantiated into the API. Very useful for automation. We can also put a description there. But click Next. You do have the option for uplink trunking, in which case all your VSANs that you create in this policy will be basically pinned to all your FC uplinks. You can add VSAN and give it a name. Okay, I want to take a minute here and talk about the VSAN scope because I think this is a little bit confusing, misleading, in that storage and uplink is selected by default in the policy. But just to be aware, storage and uplink is for the use case of where you're doing kind of direct attached storage, but you're doing a zoning externally to the FI. So it's more of a legacy architecture. And it also assumes that you're in FC switching mode. Okay. The second scope here for storage also assumes FC switching mode on the FI. And that's when you're doing the zone sets right within the FI, okay, itself. So that leaves us with uplink. So I would argue the majority of customers out there are connecting to a traditional fabric switch in SAN array, okay. In that case, you can be in fiber channel in-host mode, okay. So you're going to want to select uplink, okay. And I'm trying to get engineering to change the default on this policy to uplink. But regardless, just be aware of that when you create your VSAN policy, specifically the VSAN scope. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and put in our VSAN ID, and then we're going to use a high number VLAN for FCOE VLAN ID, and then click add, and then click create. Okay, that concludes our video about VSAN policies. I hope you were able to learn something in this video. Stay tuned for more Intersight Managed Mode Expert series videos. Thank you.